So we've seen crypto reach new record highs in the past year, and now with U.S. President-elect Donald Trump returning to the White House and filling some government positions with crypto allies, many experts predicting the asset could have an even better 2025. For more on this, we're joined by financial commentator Jon Erlichman. Morning, John. Good to see you.
Good to see you, Teddy. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, my friend. So we mentioned off the top there, President Trump, he's done quite the 180 on crypto. It was just around 3 years ago, back in 2021. He said he didn't like it. He wasn't a fan. He called it a scam. This was as El Salvador was becoming the first country in the world to adopt Bitcoin as legal tender. He's really changed his tune now. So what do you think this will mean in terms of kind of policies over this new Trump administration?
Well, it's a great question, and it definitely was one of the catalysts why Bitcoin had this huge 2024 itself. The price was up 120% after already rising more than 100% the previous year. We're not quite sure, Teddy, is the end game here. It seems pretty clear that the president got a lot of support financially from the crypto community on the road back to the White House. He may even have some personal financial ties, so maybe that explains some of the excitement. But you are right. After a few years where there was more than not resistance in the regulatory world towards crypto, Trump is seen as being more friendly. He's talked about creating a reserve of Bitcoin as well. Now, the U.S. actually has a lot of Bitcoin already, which it has seized over the years, basically from thugs and criminals. But the Trump White House might be defined by this belief in cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin. If they create a reserve, maybe it's saying, well, we believe this is the future, so we're going to put our flag in the ground and have this set amount of Bitcoin that we won't sell. One of the reasons why the cryptocurrency sometimes gets attention from enthusiasts is there's only so much of it, right? So if the demand exceeds the supply, typically the price has gone up, but it is a volatile ride.
Yeah, well, thank you for that explainer. It's fascinating what's happening south of the border. And obviously, you know, Bitcoin, as we rounded out the year, it was trading well over above 90,000 bucks. Earlier in the year, it hit a record of 100,000. So what does this high value currently of Bitcoin kind of mean writ large for cryptocurrencies around the world as we head into the new year?
I think that without Bitcoin leading the charge, all the other talk about cryptocurrencies falls by the wayside. I mean, it's the granddaddy. So if the world is talking about it, that is a bullish sign. I still struggle, though. I've been covering this crypto story for more than a decade. And we still struggle to figure out what the main street value of Bitcoin is. Now, mind you, if you're trying to move money around the world very quickly, and on the other side, someone is willing to accept crypto, that can be a lot faster than traditional banking, but it is still at odds with traditional banking. You're going to see resistance. The fact that it goes up and down means that you're going to have central bankers, we've had them in this country and the US, who say, we can't really lean into something that's so volatile. But I think the fact that more and more people are looking at this as, well, maybe this is a hedge against, I don't know, too much government spending or currency is collapsing. I mean, just look at our loonie is weak right now, and that's because people are voting against the story of the Canadian dollar to a certain extent. Bitcoin is supposed to be devoid of how you feel about one government or another. And we just came off a year where so much money on Wall Street was funneled through Bitcoin they're called exchange-traded funds. We saw these huge launches last year, and that arguably was the single biggest catalyst for Bitcoin going up, just the idea that people found these legitimate investment firms that were creating products backed by Bitcoin. They bought into them, and then the price subsequently rose.
It's a fascinating discussion. You were talking about governments. Obviously, we talked about the American government. Countries like El Salvador are very kind of aggressively bullish on crypto and Bitcoin. What's been Canada's kind of approach, government speaking, to cryptocurrencies and to Bitcoin? And, you know, should the government be acting differently to capitalize on this trend? Like, where are we at here?
Well, we're not really hearing much talk about creating Bitcoin reserves in this country. And I would add that it's one thing to keep some Bitcoin on the side to create a reserve. It's another to actually use your own currency to go out and buy it, because then you're an investor like everybody else, and you're going, along for the highs and lows of that. I'm not sure how Canadians would feel about that. There was an exploration for some time in this country around digital currencies.
Right.
Let's face it, if our life is digital and there can be a new way of thinking about currencies, maybe there's an entree that way. But that has cooled off a little bit as well. So I think at the end of the day, until you see more day-to-day use cases that would support something like Bitcoin, that's probably a ways off. But, you know, is it a store of value for the future? We'll see. My prediction would be that versus gold, Bitcoin will get more attention going forward.
Interesting. It's going to be a fascinating year ahead, especially in the world of cryptocurrency.
Absolutely.
Jon Erlichman, thanks so much for being here.
If you liked that video, make sure to subscribe to the Your Morning YouTube feed, where you can find all kinds of new content posted every weekday morning.